Every hero carries a truth, but almost no one likes to admit that every villain carries one too. And sometimes that's exactly what makes them so uncomfortable. Because admitting that a villain was right about something forces us to rethink our beliefs, question the morality of the story, and accept that the world isn't as black and white as we like to think. Some of these villains weren't entirely wrong, they just chose a terrible way to deal with it. Ken is usually portrayed as the problematic guy, almost like a cartoon villain, but if you take a step back, you realize he's actually the only character trying to operate with any logic in that movie. I already made a whole video explaining this film, and I'll leave it on the end screen in case you haven't watched it yet. From his perspective, life was going normally until a home-wrecking bee started getting close to his girlfriend. He comes home and finds his girlfriend and a bee acting weirdly close multiple times. And to make it worse, the guy is allergic to bees. At first, Vanessa's speech sounds beautiful. That whole every life has value thing. Great, applause. But getting to the point where you reorganize your entire life around a random insect you just met who wants to sue the entire human race is completely absurd. Vanessa basically starts canceling plans with her boyfriend and defending Barry more passionately than she even listens to her own boyfriend. Who wouldn't lose it? Ken isn't freaking out. He's just thinking like a normal person who might actually be getting cheated on by a bee. And when he gets home and finds that bee sitting in his chair, having drinks, laughing, and acting like it belongs there, of course, I'd want to get rid of that bee too. Getting cheated on is already bad enough, but losing your girl to a bee? That's a whole new level of humiliation. I'd probably want to end that bee before anyone even found out about the story. Captain Chantal Dubois from Madagascar 3 is the animal control officer tasked with capturing the protagonists, who are wild animals roaming freely across Europe. Even though we know they are not actually dangerous and are friendly toward humans due to growing up in captivity, that perspective comes from following them as the main characters. To everyone else in the movie, they are still wild animals that people cannot truly understand or predict. Realistically, if you saw a lion walking through a city, most people would feel fear and concern. Because of that, Dubois' original goal makes sense: prevent risks and return the animals to human control. Even though her methods are aggressive and often cruel, she acts under the belief that she is protecting public safety. The real problem begins when she stops treating it as a professional responsibility and turns it into a personal obsession. At that point, she becomes a danger herself, going against other authorities and prioritizing her mission above everything else. Still, this can also be seen as a writing choice to create a clear villain and give the protagonist someone to overcome. That's why, before becoming obsessed, she can even be viewed as a hero, since technically she succeeded in capturing and returning escaped animals. Tai Lung was not born a villain. From an early age, he was trained to believe he had a great destiny ahead of him. Shifu didn't just teach him techniques, he nurtured an expectation that eventually became Tai Lung's entire identity. When Oogway denied him the Dragon Scroll, Shifu simply accepted it, and Tai Lung realized he had dedicated his entire life to something that had never truly been guaranteed. The question he asks is not just anger, it's desperation. Who filled my head with these dreams? Of course, destroying villages does not make his actions right, but ignoring the responsibility of those who created that expectation also oversimplifies the story. Tai Lung never learned how to deal with limits, only with achievements. And that reveals something interesting. Many villains do not appear out of nowhere. They are pushed until they reach a breaking point. In the end, these stories do not show that the villains were right, but that there is almost always something behind what they became.